He said such an approach would lead to, or has led to, decisions that have created impediments in the way of his officers. He cited the dismissal of the arrest warrant against Charles Bisu, the dismissal of the application for confirmation and seizure against Adapa, and the recent decision quashing the investigative work in the LaBianca case. This is Kissi Agyebeng speaking.
It will be gravely inimical to public policy, the fight against corruption, and the administration of justice if the court stepped into this arena to decide who should be investigated, who should be prosecuted, and who should not. That is not the function of adjudication. The danger of this startling decision is again quite obvious. A judge has in the process granted 2 persons immunity from investigation and in effect immunity from prosecution. This decision opens up a calamitous deluge, as every person under criminal investigation will be encouraged to take out suits to injunct investigation and prosecution bodies from investigating and prosecuting them. Indeed, there is a live case involving the OSP now, in which someone has taken the cue to seek to injunct the OSP from investigating them. The real and present danger looms largely on the consideration that by so doing, persons under investigation would end up conscripting the judiciary to clothe them with immunity from investigation and prosecution. Members of the press, I do not intend to sound as though I am predicting doom, but we are facing doom. And this is it. With this development, it will not be long a suspected murderer or armed robber would boldly walk to court with the unthinkable prayer that the court should injunct law enforcement agencies from investigating him. We are not suggesting that the OSP does not make mistakes. We are not suggesting that we are infallible and that every case brought by the OSP or against the OSP should end in a favorable outcome to the OSP, no matter how improbable the evidence. That is not what we are saying. However, it seems to us that this flagship public agency created by law to fight corruption should receive better regard and consideration by the courts, and not this developing trend of dismissiveness and regression without regard to its governing enactments, and certainly not the erection of non-existent hurdles in its work and operations. I wish I did not have to say all this, but it's best saying, and so have said it. It is our duty as the Office of the Special Prosecutor to bear these things out. As I said, I wasn't sounding as a prophet of doom, but there is doom looming ahead of us. That very soon, a murderer will boldly walk to court to seek an injunction. Should I feel frustrated and resign? I took an oath when I was sworn in, and in my life, when I take on the reins to do something, I do it to the best of my ability. Those who do not understand Twi, please forgive me. They say I'm a unkwanoma, me de me cry about for it. Me hear me to me. Emre swan eko.
Today, my music producer is not on cue because it's a good opportunity to drop Uncle Noma by his Charlie. I think he's waiting for his salary, so he might be confused. Because usually Charlie by now he's dropping.
That's so dangerous, because tonight we're going to show you a lot about him. And it will show you the posture of the guy, the mindset that this guy is using to work. He's a danger to the democracy. He calls journalists in a press conference, knowing that the judiciary cannot call a press conference, knowing that the Supreme Court judges cannot call a press conference, knowing that the Court of Appeal judges cannot call a press conference. Then he calls a press conference and he spins out the matter to make himself look good. The same things we've been complaining about. Okay, let's start. So he says that he goes to court. Now, he's lost a few court cases, as it were. He went to court against Cecilia Dapa. I'll come to the Constitution in a minute. He went to court against Cecilia Dapa. And the court said that you cannot do that. How did the court say you cannot do that? The court said you cannot do that based on something. The court looked at the law and said you cannot do that. And he doesn't understand that because he says he wants to do it, he should be able to do it. That's all. That's the beginning and the end of the matter. I was listening to the PR of the Ghana Bar Association on Joy FM this evening. He made an important point. that at least he should exhaust the court processes before he makes a press conference. You don't go to high court and lose and make a press conference. So he thinks that because he's special prosecutor, he should just be allowed to walk in. Now, I'm going to show you, viewers, tonight why he's wrong and why he's very, very, very dangerous. Very, very, very dangerous to the sustainability of democracy. He's not about corruption at all. That's what people are saying. I don't know whether that's true, but people are suspecting that Kissi Agyebeng is not about corruption at all. He's about something else. And I'll show you what they are pointing to. Whether they are right or wrong, I don't know. But this is what they are saying. I'm going to reveal a lot tonight, viewers. Just stay with us. Okay. So we're going to begin with this. Lord Acton, he died many years ago. And those of you who have studied any political science, sociology, anthropology, or law, you know Lord Acton. Lord Acton said something. He said, power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. Now, power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. Why is that important? What is power, and who gives power? Power is not given illegally. Power is given legally. Power is given to the president by election. Power is given to the judiciary by appointment. Power is given to members of parliament by election. Power is given to authorities of state by appointment. So power itself is not bad. But Lord Acton pointed us to something. That power, when it's given to somebody, it has a potential to corrupt that person. And when the power is absolute, it corrupts him absolutely. That is why the judiciary are there. The president has power. The legislature has power. Chief executive of VRA has power. Managing director of another state institution has power. The office of the special prosecutor has power. All those powers are potentially corruptible. They can corrupt the individual. And when the power is absolute, that individual will be corrupted absolutely. That's what Lord Acton gave us. And what is the panacea to this? The panacea to this and the remedial measure to absolute power and power corrupting people is the judiciary. Because at the end of the day, it's the judiciary that makes the determination whether what the power has done is correct or what the power has done is wrong. So the power may have done something against somebody who is powerless. The power may have done something against somebody who is also powerful. Both of them, the powerless and the powerful, can show up at the court, make their case, and the court will make a determination whether that is correct or wrong. Anybody in authority who says, I don't like the judiciary looking at the things I'm doing, that person, like Kissi Agyebeng, is dangerous to the society. And I'm worried that a journalist who attended the press conference did not point this out to him, that Kissi Agyebeng, what the judiciary is doing is good. The reason why you should explore more of what the judiciary is doing is because we don't want Lord Acton's often quoted statements to happen in Ghana's democracy, that power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. What is he talking about? He is above the law. Okay, let's go to the constitutional articles. The preamble of the 1992 Constitution. Let's start with that. Okay, the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana. This is the preamble of the 1992 Constitution. The preamble is set out like the opening paragraph of the law, etc., etc. It says, in the name of the Almighty God, we the people of Ghana, in the exercise of our natural and inalienable right to establish a framework of government which shall secure for ourselves and posterity the blessings of liberty, equality, of opportunity, and prosperity. Okay, so that's the preamble of the Constitution. Let's move from the preamble of the Constitution and come now to the judicial articles. Article 125. Let's start with that. Okay, Article 125. Put it on the screen. Let's read together. Justice emanates from the people of the... No, I was looking for the sovereignty emanates from the people. Can I see that, please? Put that on. Sovereignty emanates from the people of Ghana. That's the article I was looking for. Yeah, very important. The one you made me read is too long. What's this? In a spirit of friendship. Where is the sovereignty emanates from the people of Ghana? We, in the name of Almighty God, we, the people of Ghana, in exercise of our natural and inalienable right to establish a framework of government which shall secure for ourselves and posterity the blessings. Okay, let's move on. Let's see the next one. In a spirit of friendship and peace with all peoples of the world and in solemn declaration. Yes, it's here. Okay. Freedom, justice, accountability. The principle that all powers of government spring from the sovereign will of the people. The principle of universal adult suffrage. Okay, so let's stay with that. The second part. This is all I wanted. Yes, so the last part. Viewers, let's have a look at it. Freedom, justice, probity, and accountability. The principle that all powers of government spring from the sovereign will of the people. Okay, come back to me. So that's what the preamble of the Constitution is. All powers of government spring from the will of the people. So anybody who is exercising a power of the government, that power that has been given to him springs out of the will of the people. Let's go to the judicial article now. You see it repeated there, the will of the people. Let's go to that very quickly. Okay, so that's Article 125 of the Constitution. We're still talking about Kissi Agyebeng's excesses and wanton disregard for law. That's what we're talking about. The special prosecutor, his excesses and his wanton disregard for law and his disregard for any forum that will ventilate the things he does. When a forum is created by the Constitution to ventilate the things he does, he says, I don't like it. That's what he says. He's dangerous to judiciary. He's dangerous to democracy. Kissi Agyebeng is so dangerous to democracy. Now have a look at this. Justice emanates from the people and shall be administered in the name of the Republic by the judiciary, which shall be independent and subject only to this Constitution. Let's read it again. It says, justice emanates from the people and shall be administered in the name of the Republic by the judiciary, which shall be independent and subject only to this Constitution. That's what it says. The justice is emanating from the people. It will be exercised by the judiciary. But when Kissi Agyebeng does something and the judiciary says what you did is wrong, then he goes to hold a press conference. He's crying. He goes to hold a press conference, tell journalists that there will be corruption in Ghana because he wants to resign. He should resign and be investigated. And I'll tell you why he will be investigated. And the things that he's doing there, why he should be investigated. Today, I'm coming with everything. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Article 1253. The judicial power of Ghana shall be vested in the judiciary. Accordingly, neither the president, nor parliament, nor any organ or agency of the president or parliament or a Kissi Agyebeng who is special prosecutor shall have or be given final judicial power. Viewers, have you seen that? This is the Constitution that they are teaching the students. It says that no one shall be given final judicial power except the judiciary. The president cannot constitute himself into a court and make a decision. So that means that whatever decision the president makes is subject to one last authority, which is the judiciary, if a Ghanaian feels that he has been aggrieved and he wants to check it. It's subject to that. For the president, for the parliament, for everyone. Everyone is subject to that. Kissi Agyebeng says he's not subject to that. Kissi Agyebeng, he doesn't want to be subject to that. So he thinks that there's something very, very wrong with the judiciary coming to do their work. And so he knows the judges don't do press conferences. He goes to sit down and do a press conference. You go to see Cecilia Dapa's money. No problem. The law allows you to do that. Cecilia Dapa goes to court and says the circumstance under which he sees the money is wrong. That's not what the law asks him to do. The court agrees with Cecilia Dapa at the high court level. You can go to Court of Appeal if you want. Then you can go to the Supreme Court if you want. He doesn't do that. He agrees and says, Cecilia Dapa, okay, come back for your money. You give the money, then as if he's doing a film. 3 minutes later, he says, come back, I've seized it. Cecilia Dapa goes to court again. Then he goes to court and says, no. I have arrested the process. I'm going to the Supreme Court in an interlocutory application to the Supreme Court. You go to the Supreme Court and he doesn't show up in court. Every day there's court. He's in China. He's in New York. Ask him. The journalist should have asked him whether he was in the Supreme Court building that day. Whether he was there, whether he appeared before the judges. That's the questions the journalist should have been asking him. That did he appear before the judges? He comes to make this wanton crybaby situation, and then it's all over media. The office of the special prosecutor says something. Office of the special prosecutor says he doesn't want to come under Article 125 of the Constitution. He is above the law. That's what he's saying. That he is above the law. So when he has done something, nobody should complain about it. Is that the Ghana that we were building from 1992? When we were running away from guns in 2000 as journalists, Kissi Agyebeng was not there. Then he comes and says that I am the boss of the Constitution. The Constitution that so many people have fought after. Very soon we'll be burying Uncle Shea, Akoto Ampao, people like that. They fought for this Constitution so that there will be fairness, so that there will be balance, so that the judiciary will have the final authority in judicial matters. That neither the president nor parliament nor any other organ shall have the final say in judicial matters. Kissi Agyebeng says that he should have the final say because he is office of the special prosecutor. So when he does something, the Supreme Court shouldn't say anything. He goes to the Supreme Court to make an argument. Supreme Court begin hearing the matter and they are challenging, asking questions of him. And then he withdraws the matter. The Supreme Court didn't even have the opportunity to rule on the matter. He himself withdrew the matter. Then he goes to hold a press conference that judges are after me. Judges are against. I want to show you the videos of some of the things he said. That judges, somebody told me that judges are after me. I'll deal with it. All right, let's move on. So you have now seen why he's wrong. He's wrong because the Constitution says the judiciary shall have the final authority. And we have lived with this Constitution for 30 years. He says that because he sees somebody's property, and the Constitution says you cannot do that, then it means that the Constitution is fomenting corruption. And that without him, Ghana will be a corrupt society. Can you imagine that? Is it delusions of self-grandeur? I shouldn't say that. Maybe it's delusions of self, get some deluded something. Because how can you, Office of Special Prosecutor, think that you are above the law? So you are going to hold a press conference. That's really what he was telling the journalist. His press conference was to tell the journalist that he's above the law.
Special Prosecutor Kissi Agyebeng says his office has observed a regressive and dismissive approach by the courts in handling cases involving his office. At a press conference in Accra yesterday, he said such an approach would lead to, or has led to, decisions that have created impediments in the way of his officers. He cited the dismissal of the arrest warrant against Charles Bisu, the dismissal of the application for confirmation and seizure against Adapa, and the recent decision quashing the investigative work in the LaBianca case. This is Kissi Agyebeng speaking.
It will be gravely inimical to public policy, the fight against corruption, and the administration of justice if the court stepped into this arena to decide who should be investigated, who should be prosecuted, and who should not. That is not the function of adjudication. The danger of this startling decision is again quite obvious. A judge has in the process granted 2 persons immunity from investigation and in effect immunity from prosecution. This decision opens up a calamitous deluge, as every person under criminal investigation will be encouraged to take out suits to injunct investigation and prosecution bodies from investigating and prosecuting them. Indeed, there is a live case involving the OSP now, in which someone has taken the cue to seek to injunct the OSP from investigating them. The real and present danger looms largely on the consideration that by so doing, persons under investigation would end up conscripting the judiciary to clothe them with immunity from investigation and prosecution. Members of the press, I do not intend to sound as though I am predicting doom, but we are facing doom. And this is it. With this development, it will not be long a suspected murderer or armed robber would boldly walk to court with the unthinkable prayer that the court should injunct law enforcement agencies from investigating him. We are not suggesting that the OSP does not make mistakes. We are not suggesting that we are infallible and that every case brought by the OSP or against the OSP should end in a favorable outcome to the OSP, no matter how improbable the evidence. That is not what we are saying. However, it seems to us that this flagship public agency created by law to fight corruption should receive better regard and consideration by the courts, and not this developing trend of dismissiveness and regression without regard to its governing enactments, and certainly not the erection of non-existent hurdles in its work and operations. I wish I did not have to say all this, but it's best saying, and so I have said it. It is our duty as the Office of the Special Prosecutor to bear these things out. As I said, I wasn't sounding as a prophet of doom, but there is doom looming ahead of us. That very soon, a murderer will boldly walk to court to seek an injunction. Should I feel frustrated and resign? I took an oath when I was sworn in. And in my life, when I take on the reins to do something, I do it to the best of my ability. Those who do not understand tree, please forgive me. They say I'm a ankwanoma. Me de me kra abo afore. Me ye de me to me. Emre so a ekọ.
Today, my music producer is not on cue because it's a good opportunity to drop Ankwa Noma by his challenge. I think he's waiting for a salary, so he might be confused. Because usually Charlie by now he's
What salary?
I don't know what's wrong with him.
Maybe because the official one or the unofficial one.
But the budget hasn't been approved.
The official one never been happy already.
No, the budget hasn't been approved from the top. Godfred, you are sleeping, eh? Yesterday, I heard the special prosecutor for over an hour live on television. A couple of things struck me. For an office that was supposed to be so important to the government, usually when I've seen information ministry hold press conferences for far less important organizations like, I'm mentioning this, but some of the lower government agencies have their turn at these meet the presses. This is the first major press conference that the OSP is organizing since he took over, I think a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
There was no government official there, and this was held at his office. It was live on City, live on a couple of media houses as well, so it was an important press conference for him. So that's the first thing that struck me. Then, of course, his tone. Very frustrated, sometimes angry, and sometimes alone and helpless. And I'm asking, what's going on here? I don't know if you saw the same. For me, that's how I process this. That if the OSP has been put in office, big ceremony, don't forget the first guy had issues and he resigned and this person has taken over. You'd think that the government will come and say, look, this guy has been put in place and he's doing work for us and we are proud of what he's doing because of the campaign promise. But he stands there, he says all the 4 issues he sent to court is been dismissed and thrown out on funny reasons. He feels there's an agenda within portions of the judiciary against him, and he said it. He spoke about how some judges in the past told him that he should speak out for truth and that the way his cases are being treated is not fair. He points out to how a court can say somebody cannot be arrested when a statutory body is doing its job. When somebody's account is frozen, the court comes in and overturns it. We don't want to go into the specific issues, but the trend of his losses, and some of them are on very flimsy technical reasons.
Yes, I have had cause to mention this on the show for some time. I think I've even engaged Richard Sky on this, that from a layman's perspective or from the casual Ghanaian's perspective, I felt that the OSP was losing cases that, I'm not saying he shouldn't lose cases, but it sounded a bit strange for me. And it was just back to back to back to back. So it's either the OSP is very bad at its job, because the OSP is not a person, it's an institution, at its job, or there's something going on. Look, do we need an OSP? Yes, we need an OSP. It was born out of the NPP's manifesto, born out of the president's call to separate politics from criminal investigations.
As a former Attorney General himself.
Yes, because we all know exactly how difficult it is.
I don't think we needed an OSP.
Well, I think we needed an OSP. Because our system had become one where it was very difficult to separate the politics from justice very clearly. There were too many interests at hand. The perception that the general public held was that there are certain elements of the populace, certain elements of the political hierarchy who can never be touched and will get away with everything because your basic system as it stands was not empowered to deal with them. So the police is afraid.
Look, the president himself explained it when he made the announcement that as a former Attorney General, if you don't decouple the Minister of Justice, if you don't decouple the two positions, so I'm saying that based on his own position as former AG and understanding the limitations of having a Minister of Justice as an AG, he creates this office. And then he looks for a person he believes is incorruptible and strong, as Martin Amido, and puts him there. So he had conviction that this was the way to go. Do you get my point? So why is this strange to you that he's losing cases then?
The point I'm making is, if you look at, these are not substantive cases. These are, I'm not a lawyer, so the lawyers should forgive me, what I would call preliminary processes that enable the OSP to carry out its investigations. As somebody who sits by the curb watching, my expectation is that there would be a certain level of support, and in certain estimates, even in my belief, a certain kind of bias
from the state
towards getting those things done until we get to the point of a substantive trial where the person can then say, well, this is my case. This is why I'm not guilty. The OSP can say, this is why you are guilty. And then we have a verdict and then we go our way. But we've had the OSP being tripped up at every step, which makes it look like it's almost like the OSP does not prepare properly before showing up in court. So that's why I'm saying that either the OSP doesn't know its job at even the very basic level to lose some of the cases it has lost in court, or something is not right. And I believe that if once we set up the OSP, there was supposed to be, my expectation was a certain kind of relationship with the judiciary in making sure that certain things happen effectively.
Yeah.
Okay. In the countries that have these kinds of elements, some run it through their Directorate of Public Prosecutions, which are powered to do certain things. Others run it through specialized investigative units that do not report through the standard police practices or whatnot. You would find it rare that they lose cases like that. You can check this. You can go to Nigeria and see. Look at the speed with which Gordon Emefiele has been sent through that process. In Ghana, that case will not make it that far. Go to Nordin Hash when he was Director of Public Prosecutions in Kenya until he became Director of National Security. He rarely loses cases at that level where he's looking to investigate somebody and he'll go to court and they say, okay, injunction. No. The case will go through. And then when it gets to the substantive case, you can deal with whatever matter. But this matter of 10-day injunction, you cannot freeze an account. You cannot do this. You cannot do that. It makes it look weird. Okay? And frankly, that stifled the work of the special prosecutor. Hence his body language yesterday. At a point, he almost looked like he was in tears. And I can feel it. Second part that gives me cause for concern is even how we, the media, particularly those that are friendly towards the government, report cases when the OSP goes to court. OSP flawed in court. OSP cries mama after losing case.
Today there was a front page story that said, "Cry baby OSP."
I mean, come on.
Yes.
It is not an institution that should be referred to in such language. If they want us to teach the journalism, we'll teach it. There are certain institutions which cannot be categorized. You see, because we, the media, also have a role to play in enhancing the work of the OSP. We are not supposed to be biased towards the OSP, but we're also not supposed to undermine the status of the OSP. So when the OSP goes to court, and then you read the headline, "Crybaby OSP." Why is he a basic? Is the institution of the OSP against the state? Because that is then what you start gleaning. Because you see, like I said, I've seen Crybaby OSP, OSP crash lands in court, OSP lashed in court. Something that kind of reportage also feeds that perception. So I clearly share the frustrations of the OSP, and I am clearly frustrated as well. You see, because has he made strides? Not the kind of strides we would want. I think that he has been an improvement. Kissi Agyebeng has been an improvement on Martin Amidu. Martin spoke a lot, talked the tough game, but didn't get a lot done. At least from my work as a journalist and what I have observed of the current OSP, the office has been set up, processes are there, units are there. You could go there today and get work done if you want it done. Okay? In terms of actual outcomes, we haven't had what we want. Particularly also because of some of the reasons that he stated. He can't even move a leg because every time he moves, he faces a judicial barricade. So I think that what the president needs to do, or he needs to do perhaps, have a chat with the Chief Justice. It is essential that the OSP gets along with the judiciary. Again, I am not saying favor him, but I am saying that at the rate at which the OSP has been smacked around in court,
it's on way.
It's on way for me, Charlie.
So why do you think he's so frustrated?
I think I need to finish the point I was making, that I don't think we needed anything called OSP. It was so unnecessary in the first place. You see, this authority of the OSP mimics the role of the ombudsman in any structured system. Which role had been given to the SHRAJ? I think all we needed to do was to expand the powers of SHRAJ and strengthen SHRAJ as an institution You understand? Now, the downside of what is happening is that role of the ombudsman, from the original understanding, is like the representative of the people. But it's not looking like that with how the whole OSP thing is going. It's beginning to look like it's him against a section of the ruling government. You understand? I mean, you made a point. For a very important press engagement of this nature, one would have
expected that
you would see the power of the state.
The power of the state at play.
Yeah.
Because whatever Kissi Agyebeng's office is doing is being done on behalf of the state.
Yeah.
Now, while he's at it, what is Shraj doing?
Yeah,
So what I'm saying is that we didn't, in the first place, have to replicate the roles. They may have technical reasons. I do not.
Let me point out, though,
I'm just saying that we could have expanded the mandate of.
So let me point out something. So what they were, I'll let you continue. So they were saying that there's something they call politically exposed persons. So while Shraj deals with human rights and administrative justice,
who created Shraj?
Oh, but it's
and
a
I'm saying
constitution.
that
Yeah.
we could have expanded Shraj. You see, we need to understand that countries, for their progress, are driven by institutions. It's not replicating functions. This is what we have done. And that's why it took forever to even resource them, if they have.
Yeah, they have gone.
I'm just saying that that's why we are seeing all the things we are seeing. Look, I can tell you for a fact that a lot of the challenges he's going through, I'm sure that if you interview Commissioner Short, he will tell you that I went through the same thing when Shraj started. You understand? My departure is that, look, it is actually an establishment of the law of the Republic of Ghana. The OSP's office should tell us where the judgments so far have departed from the law.
Oh, he did.
No, I'm just saying that's the emotional bit of Ankwano Martin is just gimmick.
Oh no. There were parts he
actually went through
all the
cases.
And he spoke about the judgment.
The fact that you went through doesn't mean the judgment is wrong. That's your opinion.
Yes, but
I'm saying that.
Hold on, 1 second, if you mind. He did admit.
I'll let you talk. You said you wanted me to let you finish.
I'm making input in what you are saying.
But wasn't I making input?
No, Sama.
No, I was not.
We cannot have a conversation like that.
No, what he's trying to say is that you see what you are asking us to do.
Finish.
No, your time is not over. Your time is not over. Your time is not over.
I'm not taking your time. You continue.
Your time is not over. I think the point I wanted to make was that because you made a comment that he should show us the departure, he spent a bit of time actually doing that.
But I listened. I'm not sure you two were the only people who listened. I also listened. I'm saying that the fact that you make a comment about it cannot be conclusive that, and so the judges were wrong. That's all I'm saying.
But he does admit that. He does admit that. He did say it.
So I can't say that.
No, but you have not said he said that.
You said he should show us.
He should show us why they are wrong.
Well,
but the fact that you say they are wrong,
he didn't say they are wrong. He said he admits that there are differences of opinions in the law. Yeah. He understands that.
And I'm saying that in addition to that, this whipping emotional sentiment is not founded on the law. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I mean, of course, that's the way.
Can you imagine a judge giving the judgment and singing a Methodist hymn book to him to if you like make his point stronger? I'm just saying that let's keep it. You are an establishment of the law. Keep it within the remits of the law. That's what I'm saying. It's not looking good. I started by saying that it's not looking good. Or I didn't say that. You didn't hear that. I said that it's not looking good. First of all, but I'm just saying that. You yourself, you are there because of the law, and you work within the law, which will be interpreted by the courts. Incidentally or coincidentally, all the cases you have taken there, or most of the cases you have taken there, have just they bounced you. Let me, the bouncing, you can go and appeal. It's okay to go and appeal. I'm only saying that let's not be too emotional about it, and also let's not personalize it too much. It is the office. Let's deal with the office. Let's deal with the law. It's not good that the cases, it doesn't look good that the cases are being bounced. No two ways about that. But let's push the law. If you have to go for appeal, go for appeal. Because you want it there for the records that I did my best in my capacity.
So, but I think the question we should all answer here is, do we want the OSP to succeed? So,
not.
Irrespective of the way it was set up and whether it was the best option to use, now it's been created by Parliament. Now they have they've populated with people. They put resources in there. So now it is a legitimate
establishment.
Yes. So
established by the law.
Good. So
which interpretation of the law is not limited to the OSP alone. That's all I'm saying.
Yes. So my question I'm asking us to deal with now is, based on the man's problem that he's saying, there appears to be an institutional
Block.
set up against him by his interpretation of the 4 cases and other matters, and the fact that if taking them time to even get their resources released. So, for example, one journalist was asking about whether they have their full complement of the money they need, and he says, well, he's now finished recruiting his officers, so it's now that the office is properly set up.
Yes.
All right. So we as civil society and media, obviously, we want the OSP to succeed because it's part of the effort against corruption. It may not be the most efficient use of resources, as he's saying. You could have strengthened SHRAS because they have a strong institutional memory. You could have strengthened Parliament with even an Office of Independent Budget, but you've chosen to create an OSP, so we have it. In order not to waste resources, because you have the AG there, you have SHRAS there, you have YOCO also there. You also have Office of Financial Intelligence, something.
The FIC, yeah.
Good. What do you do as a state to make sure that this does not become cost 90? Because the way it's been set up, it's going to continue no matter which government comes.
Yes.
Because it's been, Parliament has really set it up.
Having your mandate.
How do we ensure that the OSP, and again, we need to talk about even the office being set up from the first prosecutor to this person. Because they seem to have a bigger space now. I remember when Sanda went to the previous OSP office, a smaller space. There's a bigger space now. The office looks furnished. They have a lot of people there now. So there's been some progress.
Yes.
How do we ensure that, and maybe the question comes back to everybody, does the state have an obligation to support the OSP in the way he's talking about? No, but that's why, but you see, 2 things. You are saying the courts have to interpret the law. He is saying that sometimes to set up an institution, you have to help them on their preliminary issues. Then when they get to the substantive case, do you understand? So his point is that to help OSP, you may have to even overlook, because, for example, if the guy doesn't have his full complement of officers, his court cases may not be the same way as the AG would do it.
Yeah, overlook what exactly?
So, like preliminary mistakes.
Because there are people who are, if you like, standing the trial. There are people who have interest in this. So overlook means that you are not being fair to the people who are, if like,